Episode of Nerds That Know. We are doing our second ever album review for this particular channel. Standy Dog is here and very excited to be contributing. We also have with us Husband and joining us again, and will be here for as many album reviews as we can feed her for, the lovely Lucy. I am your host, Duchess Bobby, and we're going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Because although I picked the album, I have not delved into it the same amount that these two have, which is why they are the album reviewers and I am the question asker person. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I have a master's degree.
I don't know anything about this. We're being able to speak full sentences.
All right, so the album that we are going to be discussing today is Revolution's Free Rein, thank you. I'm looking at their list of albums and I was like, that's not the right one. This one is. Yeah, so this is their 6th studio album from 87 Music Easy Star Records. There are 12 tracks. And the way that this album is described on the website is classic reggae sound with genres spanning R&B, rock, jazz, and folk. The most diverse album to date. And this was written in May of 2020. Revolution's most diverse album to date. Not the diverse. Yes. Not the most diverse of all albums ever. All right. So let's go ahead and just start with overall impressions.
Okay, so there's going to be some hurt feelings, I think, about some of this stuff, but I want to start off by saying that everything I'm saying is taken from a very critical aspect, and that's where I start from as someone who has done a lot of music production and been in the studio and know what that process goes into. A lot of the choices in this album were a little bit interesting. Overall, I think what that description that you read was pretty good. It is very reggae, and they do span like the entire genre of reggae, all the way from, reggaeton to dub, some of the newer stuff and everything in between in that subgenre of music. But while they're doing that, they're also playing with jazz and funk and a lot of 70s rock and a lot of college rock and a lot of like 311 type stuff too, which is what I got a lot of in the music too. So it's a really interesting album. And I think when we get into a lot of the stuff and we start discussing it, it's going to sound like we don't like what we listen to. And I just want to take a moment and it's a great album. It was really good for what it is. But there's times and places for things like this. And maybe a deep dive into the musical production of it was not probably the way to go.
No, it was the way to go. Because I'm the opposite. And I know nothing about the musical production of it.
You know enough, though.
I know enough. I know nothing about reggae. I know that it's a genre. I know what it sounds like. I know that Bob Marley had an assassination attempt, and I know that from a novel called A History of Seven Killings. And that's. I looked up some things on reggae, and it took me just coming to it from the point of view as somebody who listens to a lot of serious music.
Yeah, sure.
I did have to listen to it several times before I could really differentiate between the songs.
Yeah.
And not zone out. Mm. But we were talking about this, that that's kind of the point, though, as you put it on. It feels really good. It's very comfortable. You can have it on at a party, talk over it. It's not offensive.
Yeah.
So, it's, you don't have to stop and get mad.
Right. Right, yeah. It really is just that. It's party rock. With the offbeat. It's the opposite beat guitar or piano that is so prevalent in most reggae music that is just, it hits you right off the bat on the first track.
Oh yeah.
You get that
Yep.
and you're going straight into reggae because that is like the number one thing in reggae is that offbeat. It's either a piano or it's, treble end of your guitar. And that's what you're chording to try to get that offbeat. And that just gets people kind of moving.
That's counterpoint.
Yes, exactly. It's the opposite of what the rhythm is doing. And it just makes you, and you saw it when we were in the kitchen, and we were talking. We're going to say a lot. I'm going to say it a lot that it's going to sound like I hated this, but I've really enjoyed it. But there were some issues. Like it's great dance music. It makes you feel good. The themes in there overarching are really positive for the most part.
Even when you're fighting, positive music.
Lots of positivity in this.
You still feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird.
Yes.
So, for those of you who are wondering why the fuck I decided to have these two listen to a reggae album, for those of you who are with us for our first album review or through any of the various Nerds episode that Husband has been on, you understand that these two are music people. So trying to find something that neither one of them was familiar with was really difficult. Like this took, I had it narrowed down from a list from my sister, from a list from my father-in-law. And then I was afraid that if I went with another father-in-law choice, then Husband would have heard it before.
More than likely.
And then I was thinking all of the stuff that my sister had recommended. We were going through her records the last time, we were over at her house. And so obviously, Mark was a part of that. We did not go with what our nephew suggested, and that was the soundtrack of Lower Decks, which they have on record.
That's a good choice. Haven't heard it, but
it may come in at a later time since we've actually not watched Lower Decks other than a couple of episodes.
Would you like to try to keep us on topic and not go in?
No, we're not going to.
Other Star Trek.
But there's a reason why.
Just meaning
you said Star Trek, and now my brain's going Star Trek.
There's a reason why we went reggae. Now this actually made it to number 1.
Yes.
Yep.
On the Billboard Top Reggae Albums chart, and made it to number 41 on Billboard's Top 200.
Yeah.
Right? So that's exciting when you're thinking about, Top 200 is all music genres.
Yeah, and it stayed on that list forever, too. Like, it was number 1 for, like, what was it, like, I think it was something like 53 straight weeks or something. And this was not their first album that was that highly thought of. This was like the 3rd or 4th that they had come out with that actually debuted at number 1 and kind of stayed there.
Second album,
Courage to Grow. Courage to Grow reached number 4 on the Billboard Top Reggae Albums.
There you go.
But it was Free Rein and their 2019 vinyl box set that also reached number 1. So this is a band that was made, formed back in 2004. 5 dudes who were all going to school at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and thought, hey, let's play some reggae.
Yeah.
A little more research and stuff on the different things that they have done, which is kind of crazy, to include a number of Husband is getting into the candy and the desserts, which we're okay with. They've done a number of collaborations. Can I have a wee plate now?
Oh, yeah. We have those.
I don't like my nose.
Meanwhile, while I'm feeding everyone snacks.
So let's go ahead and just start going down the list of the tracks on Free Rein. The first song is Celebrate.
Yeah, we both agreed we liked it. It's very inviting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's immediately it's reggae, and it's in the like love feeling. Everybody's a friend.
Holy fuck.
Just like that. That is to celebrate the album.
Sorry, these are really good.
And yeah, it really it introduces just like harmony and love, and here you are, and we're the album, and we're gonna envelop you. And
Well, one of the interesting things that reggae does is, you know, that there's songs that are written in an off key, and those songs are often like war songs, you know.
Very political.
Yeah, you know, and they're like dun, 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 and you know, they're like, but this song is very major and it's very uplifting right away, and it's got a great beat right away, and you get that off note. It very much feels like the start of a concert, you know. Man, that's what these guys do, is they play live. I have a problem with the fact that there's a really strong note of auto-tune in this song, and it was very noticeable right away. And to me, with all of the intricacies of all of the other sound and how tight the musicianship is, and how many layers of different things that they put into the music, that amount of production leads me to believe that they either ran out of time while they were recording the vocals and rushed them at the end. That almost, or he just was lazy and decided not to record his vocals more than once. And I've seen some other bands that do this, like famously, very famously for me. And if the dipshit was here, she would agree with me. The very last album that Rammstein put out had a lot of auto-tune on it, and it's because they were just getting till between tours, so they didn't have a lot of time. So they just got them on a couple of takes. And that's what this felt like to me, was everything else was so meticulously put together, and then the vocals were just like, okay, and it's auto-tuned, and it's not bad. It's not like T-Pain where it's obvious, but there's hard cutoffs on notes, and it's just a little bit off-putting when you're listening to the vote, when you're listening to it deeply. But if it's on in the background, or like you're playing it live or something, it's a great song, and it's open and honest and inviting, and it's all the things you want. I don't know why they auto-tuned it. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, while we're on Celebrate, one of the lyrics directly from the first verse that I found really just like catches me is the be mentally strong to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Keep it together, live stronger, mentally strong to live longer. You know, and the reason that I'm bringing up that particular line from that song is we were actually talking earlier how important it is to, you know, do self-care, especially for your mental health, you know, see a therapist, whatever. And I feel like one of the things that you get with this song is it's okay to do what you need to do to take care of yourself, but let's have fun and know I got your back.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that because that's not a common thread in most music.
He touches on that. Matthew, I believe, is his name, the singer, songwriter, guitar player for the band. I think his name is Matthew, but he touches on that self-care a ton. It's one of his primary themes, is like, you know, uplifting, positivity. You know, the very next song we'll talk about has a very strong theme of I got to get out of here. You know,
Matthew was the vocals, songwriter, and guitar.
Yep.
Previously, he was with the beginning of the band from 04 to 07. The current vocals, guitar, and songwriter is Eric Rachmani.
that's the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah.
So,
And he's like the guy.
Yeah, and he's been there since the very beginning as well.
Yeah, he's like the Papa Emeritus of that band. He's basically the Trent Reznor. He's the mastermind, and everybody else does his stuff. Which is why I brought up Papa Emeritus. If you know, all that shit's written by that one dude.
All right, so next song on the album is City Life.
Now, I was slightly offended by this because I'm an urbanite.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, why the hell would you want to get out of the city to feel good?
Yeah.
That's mostly what I just say. And this was one of
Fair.
the ones that was they had 2 producers
Yeah.
come in and work on 3 different songs.
Mhm.
So this is one.
Yep. They got the actual Rastas to come
Yeah, and it's, I mean, those 3, just to kind of move away from that, those 3 songs are, I feel, they're not my taste, but they're a notch above.
Yeah.
Just production, I mean, obviously production wise.
Well, and you can tell the writing.
But
they
the
came in and
Rasta
were like, hey,
there,
the traditional Rasta stuff is much stronger at those 3
this
songs.
very different feel. So I think that, along with the theme there, which is, I have to take care of myself, and I'm really unhappy
Right.
in this situation. And the metaphor of the city, okay, fine. I'm an urbanite. I live in the middle of the city. I love the alarm blaring and the smog, I guess.
To me, this very much felt like a response song to the Lovin' Spoonful, Somewhere in the City.
Yes.
And like
it's so
almost
good.
to the point where you can almost feel it in the music too.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that song is very much about the busyness of the city and stuff. And he's talking about grabbing a bag and going out to the woods. And
Yeah, he's going insane. He's got to go clear his head.
Yeah.
Where the air is clear, where there's not violence, where there's not.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I'm a city girl myself. I love the city. But at the same time, like for my birthday, we went up to the mountains. We drove through like Conifer and
Central City.
Yeah.
I guess I am a hiker, so I suppose.
So, I get that, stepping away from it.
Just centering yourself.
But there's also something really nice about coming back to the city.
Yeah.
It's like when we go out to my parents' house, they live out in BFE on like 200 acres of nothingness, right? And it's nice to just be like, there's my husband's ass for everybody to look at while we're on live stream.
I'm not going to do what I thought about doing just now.
Please keep your shorts up.
We're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Can't get zucked.
We'll get demonetized and blocked and our page will get canceled.
Don't need to get zucked.
And we're just now getting into con season. But there's something really nice about, getting back to the city, but there's also something really nice about getting out of the city.
Yes, yeah, of course. I mean, people usually get out for this reason, which is I need to clear my head.
For me, it's just nice to walk away from my phone.
Yeah, and in the city, there's almost always self-service.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only real reason that we can convince our parents that we're not responding to their messages is, I didn't have service.
I was in a dead spot.
We were going through a tunnel.
I was on the moon
with Steve.
Yes.
I was dead at the time.
Did you brush your teeth? Sorry.
I'm glad we all went there.
Oh,
all right. So
this is why we get along.
love him so hard.
Before we go off on a tangent.
Trying really hard because it's been a minute since we've hung out, and squirreling is really, really high on my brain to do.
Important question for you though. Do you have a flag?
Flag. There's actually one on my desk. Does that count?
Yes.
Oh,
while we're off topic, guys.
And we have one out the door.
Lucy brought her own birthday cake.
It was for my birthday. We got her birthday treats. She got me birthday
I
treats.
would never make my own birthday. I really wouldn't. In fact, I insist nobody make me a birthday cake.
We made you
Thank
birthday
you.
pizza.
You did. It was amazing.
And by we, I mean my husband.
And you bought me an amazing birthday book. Okay, we're not going to start talking about Star Trek.
Next song is Legend.
Okay, where do I have Legend?
So
under inspiration, working hard.
This is one of my favorites on the album.
Okay.
I really like this song.
I just think it's funny that 4 lines of the lyrics are just the word "oh."
This song to me is like quintessential, like working man's reggae.
Yes. Yeah.
I liked everything about it. Like just positivity. I'm a lion. That like the big overarching thing in a lot of And that's a Bob Marley thing too. Is the lion's a big thing? You know?
Yep.
It's a big thing in their culture. I don't know why there's none of them on the island, but it's a big thing in their culture that I'm a lion and all that stuff. So I really enjoyed this song, and the way, like, I enjoyed the harmony of the horns in this one was very much like Mighty Mighty Boss Tones to me. Speaking of ska, you know,
That's what I really liked about it too, were the horns.
yeah, it was very Boss Tones to me, which I enjoyed.
I mean, I don't like listen to horn classical music, but if you throw a horn in any rock music, then I am there.
I'll fuck with the Boston Pops every now and again. You know, the Boston Pops are great occasionally. A little grandstandy, but they're fun.
So while we're talking about
Because we're all stuffing our face with chocolate.
while we're talking about the horns and whatnot, one of the things that has been brought up earlier was the number of different musical instruments you hear, on this album.
Yeah, could you go into that a bit? Because I didn't.
Oh man, I mean, you heard it when we were listening to that last song. Like, they fade in the keyboarded strings.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a lot of that kind of little instrumentation that kind of fades in and out, where they have like and it's a super reggae thing where they have like the piano that has the echo effect in there.
Right.
But it's just like randomly once. So it's like do 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 do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those little touches and layered horns, which aren't in every song.
No.
And it's a 4-piece band, so I'm wondering how they do that live. Do they have a horn section they travel with? Do they play a lot of that on keyboard?
They do not have a horn section they travel with. They have a keyboard, bass, drums, saxophone, trumpet.
Yeah, that's your
Okay.
those are your horns.
They travel with trumpet, guitar, and saxophone
Okay.
in addition to the primary band members.
See, in a lot of bands when they do live, they will borrow, aka pay for musicians, so they'll scout ahead of time. And and the Moody Blues were famous for this actually back in the day, because anybody who knows the Moody Blues, they were an okay average rock band with a pretty good guitarist, and they got famous because they put a wall of sound in their music and made a couple of really okay songs really good because they had a full orchestra behind it. And so instead of traveling with an entire 100-piece orchestra, they just sent the music ahead and played with your city's orchestra everywhere they went for their entire career. So, like, when they came to town, it was always the Denver City Orchestra that played at Red Rocks with the Moody Blues, and a lot of places do that kind of stuff too.
So that's still very common.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily common. I like that because then you get the local musician involved and you're paying, you're giving jobs to local musicians, and I love that. So I'm just curious how they do a lot of that stuff live, because that song, you're saying that travel with 2 horns, there's like 4.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they achieve that while they're still trying to play the offbeat piano and stuff? You know what I mean? I'd just be interested to see how it comes across in the live setting too.
Those are just the band members that they actively travel with.
Okay.
So I did not see whether or not they have local musicians doing stuff with them as well.
I'm a big fan of this cake.
Good.
So
Safeway made it just for you.
It's like a whipped cream soft frosting that has a little bit of salt to it.
Yeah, just to throw in a Safeway plug. Their cake's pretty good.
Safeway, watch this and sponsor us.
Safeway, you guys aren't on strike.
Great. You're not on strike. Great cake.
I can go into your store and not feel bad about myself. Mostly.
Well, while we're all stuffing our face with Safeway food, Girl Scouts everywhere freaking out because of the Kroger strike.
Yeah.
And so, husband's liquor store that he works at will be having our niece's Girl Scout troop in front of there on Saturday this weekend. So support your Girl Scouts.
Excellent.
Buy from my nieces.
Could you imagine picketing and there's Girl Scouts trying to sell cookies while you're picketing?
Well, apparently some of the Girl Scout troops who have tried to still sell in front of Kroger's have gotten very nasty things said to these little kids. So,
I believe it.
I would imagine people are assholes.
People are asshole.
right.
People are motherfuckers.
and that's why there are children.
Yes, to be quite blunt.
Okay. So next song on the album.
I love you, but you're all motherfuckers out there.
Hey, you're officially not. You're an anti-fucker.
That's true. That is true.
Okay. So Settle Down Easy is the fourth song on this 12-song album.
The only note I have about that is it's another one of those fancy produced ones.
Yeah, I mean, after the first 3 songs, the next 2 for me just kind of fade into obscurity a little bit.
Fine.
And it's only because, like, each of the first 3 songs actually had something to say, and I thought that was part of the story of this album. And then it's just kind of like, now I'm cruising into just listening to the music, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just didn't really have any notes, really, on these 2 songs. But, I mean, it's a great song. I like the song. It's just laid back, you know? Well, obviously the theme, Settle Down Easy, you know?
Well, and not to be like super cutesy, which tends to happen when husband and I are awake. One of the lines in the song is "Nothing satisfies me as much as when you're happy."
Yeah.
Like that is very much the way our relationship works.
Yeah. There's a few songs where he is doting on somebody, and it not like there are lots of lines like that. I think this one was one of them. Patience is another one.
Patience is another one. Yeah.
There's a few songs where I was like, he is madly in love with somebody.
Yes,
and
yeah.
like the right way, you know.
I have about 4 songs that love songs.
Yeah, and I didn't, you know, and I didn't really get very many notes, so I'm
No,
glad
I
you
didn't
had
either.
some. So
You actually
Failure.
broke the songs into categories.
I
What were
did.
your categories?
I have the community, respect, support, love category, which has been divided by like take care of yourself, and then the other one is a direct love song to
Okay.
somebody. And then I have the inspiration, working hard, self-discovery. And that's only divided because of the song Trapdoor, which is instead of, work on yourself, you know, get out there, it's more like, get your shit together. What the hell's the matter with you?
we've been trying to tell you for ages.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's still there. It's like work on yourself, but it's a little less positive.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Those are my categories.
I like it.
Very, very technical.
I'm going to skip over Take on Anything because you were saying the next 2 you really don't have many notes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll go into Patience. Anything that really stuck out for you from this song?
No, nothing.
No, I have a note. This is one of my least favorite because I just find it real annoying and boring.
I really enjoy the theme of this song. I really enjoy the lyrics to this song. I enjoyed what he was talking about. He was basically like, I'll be here. You know? I'm just hanging out, you know, like no matter
when you're
what
ready,
happens, I'll be here and I'll be ready for you. I'm just patient, you know. And it's not like a creep factor. It's not like the Sting and the Police, like,
No,
I'll be
it's
watching.
not, no.
It's more of a, hey, when you're ready, I know you're waiting for me. And, you know,
Yeah,
when you're ready.
I'm here for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but the line, you know, waiting for my turn is a little creepy.
That is a bit creepy.
Bit creepy and, you know, pulled out of context. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, I get it. I just need some time with you. I'm waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
I understand that you're busy. I'm not going to pull you away from the shit that you're doing.
Right.
Like, I get it in that, you know, broad,
Context.
you know, context and like actual following along with the whole, you know, bit of the song. But just pulling it out, which is what I was doing before, because the first time I listened to it, and you guys have both said the same thing, is it all kind of blended together.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So I actually pulled up the lyrics so I could be like, okay, this is what I'm looking
Yeah.
I
at.
did the same thing.
And so
I
that
did the
way,
same thing.
that way I could hear it
Yeah.
more, because it's the same reason that you have the subtitles on it, so you can hear it better.
Yep.
Right? You know,
Can concentrate.
so But yeah, just the first time I was looking over the lyrics before I actually listened to it, just waiting for my turn. That just sounds like this is somebody who's,
So
into poly and doesn't know how to deal.
That's possible.
lyrically, this guy is all over the place, and I know that he's got help writing. Like obviously there's the two other guys that came over from the island to help him write those 3 songs. The extra producers that they had on this were also writing those songs as well. But to me, his love songs are very much like a Weezer or like a Bare Naked Lady type love song, like nice guy love songs. Not like baby, I'm gonna. What's the, and it's kind of reggae, but it's a pop song, and you hear it in the grocery store all the time.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is
I'll
disgusting.
make love to you.
It's I'm gonna
'Cause
make you
that's the
sweat
first
till
thing-
you can't sweat no more, and then when you cry, I'm gonna push it some more. I hear that song at the grocery store all the time, and I'm like, this is not okay.
That is not I'll make love to you.
No,
But that was a #1 hit in the '90s, and it was very reggaeton, and it had that inspiration, and I can't remember, but you guys know the song I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And nobody's thought about the lyrics, right? You don't hear it until I just spoke it out. Like, you don't think about how awful it is. It's like the fucking Pina Colada song.
Oh,
You
God.
guys know that the Pina Colada song is a love song about 2 people who are married who aren't in love with each other, so they put in opposite ads in the paper and then wind up at the same bar and fall in love again because they're trying to cheat on each other.
If you don't
They
know
both
that
get
by this
caught
point, you have
cheating
not
on
been
each
alive
other.
with each other.
And that's what the Pina Colada song is. That's what they're doing.
But it's so romantic.
But anyways, so like Patience to me, Patience to me, and like all the love songs.
Yeah, I
in
think
this,
all the love songs and they're they're just
enjoy
very
it.
sweet
Yeah.
and warm. Yeah.
he's a super nice guy, and he's got a really good sweetheart. It's like that's really kind of refreshing to see that, and instead of booty rocking everywhere and like that kind of stuff. And there's a guitar riff in this. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Now I'm thinking it's like a 60s thing.
Oh, maybe.
It's like an old 60s song that has that in it.
Please go listen to this song 500 times and let us know.
This will
this
be
guitar
something I
riff is.
figured out, but it's a descending scale that they do. Dun, dun, dun,
Which is
dun,
funny because
dun.
the song you thought it might be another song.
Another,
here
yeah.
is 100%
Right.
that. But we'll get there.
Right, yeah, but there's and it hits you right away. Like I just focused so hard on that like my first I just couldn't get past this song for a while just because I'm still trying to figure out where that comes from, but that's just my own tisms.
Welcome to the Neurospicy Network.
I do not know what you were talking about.
That's just my tisms coming out.
Never. I feel like we're doing a good job staying on top of it.
We are trying really hard not to. All right, so
I keep
Rise on
writing.
Top. This is song 7.
Okay. I feel like I just kind of revealed how I feel about this song. It's the third one that they did that the other people that was brought in.
Yeah.
And so it's objectively very good.
Yeah.
It's produced very well. I get it stuck in my head and I find it real annoying. I just don't
What are they fighting though?
That's exactly it feels to me. Okay, hot take. This is the reggae version of a new metal song.
Yeah.
Of a I'm gonna take it on,
Hmm.
but Rise on Top, and that just I couldn't get that thought out of my head.
Yeah, it's so the thing about college rock, and this is very much, don't get it twisted, this is very much college rock. This whole thing is these bands are almost afraid to pick a side sometimes,
Right.
and so their music is very much we have a struggle. Occasionally, in a song like this, we've got a struggle. We're gonna come out, but you never find out what their struggle
is the
is. Like,
struggle?
where's your antagonist? What's pulling against you? What is the struggle? And that's what I have a problem with, because classically in reggae music, the struggle is real. It is
Yes.
very real. And it, you hear some of the reggaeton that you get on the radio, and it's always Three Birds, which that song is not called One Love. It's called Three Birds, you fucking ingrates. It's called Three Little Birds. But that's not what reggae is. That song was written for his daughter.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen the biopic, but that's the story. Is that song was written for his daughter, trying to keep her calm. It's like a lullaby. But most of it is like, we're fighting some shit.
Yes,
We're fighting colonialism. We're fighting people pulling our families apart because of slavery. We're fighting for wages. We're fighting against the weather. We're fighting against things trying to kill us in the woods.
Yeah.
There is lots of struggles on that little island of Jamaica. We're fighting the 6 white people that live here and own 99% of the wealth. That kind of shit. And there's none of that in this. And that's what I wanted, was like, okay, I see it. You've got a struggle. There's that thing. But it's all bark and no bite. There is zero teeth.
Yeah, that's how I
Zero
felt about it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
It's like
And-
we're appealing to this certain audience.
I'm a little bit biased because I am very political. and
No.
and in this
Let's not
format, I'm
go
not going
into
to
that.
share my mind, but you guys know I share my mind a lot. And musically, it is very easy to share your mind
Yes,
politically
yeah.
and get away with it, depending on. Look at how many idiots still think Rage Against the Machine is a conservative band.
They're not. What?
Because they have everyone fooled.
I'm so confused.
But they just that there's no teeth to it. Like it's we'll fight and we'll win and we'll rise to the top. Cool, but what are you
But
fighting?
what are you fighting?
And what is that struggle? Why are you struggling? To me, it just seems like white boys imagining. It's that's what it is to me. Is like you're inventing something.
That
like
is
you said, it's the
exactly-
new
yeah.
metal thing. It's the woe is me. It's the something.
You're
takes
making
a
up
part
an,
of
yeah,
me.
you're making
You
up
know.
an enemy
Yeah.
to fit a mold. And I brought up the attempted assassination of Bob Marley. Well, he was on the CIA's hit list
Right.
for a reason. It was
Yeah.
because of these political themes.
Right. Yeah. It's because people were waking up.
Yes.
But that just have a little bit more pull into something.
That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel about the song. It's like,
Yeah.
it's boring. It doesn't mean anything. It
Yeah.
seems like it was written for white college students.
It's fine, but
It's fine.
it could have been okay.
Yeah.
It could have been better
All right, Trapdoor. You've been talking about this one for a while.
since you walked in the door.
Since I walked in the door, that's because.
Well, it was so Trapdoor, song. Ooh, pizza.
Excuse me, Trap. Talking
There
about.
was also a stop to scratch the dog's belly.
We were talking about potential cure openings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I brought up Trapdoor.
And that's when Trapdoor came up.
And yeah, the beginning of Trapdoor is the beginning of Lullaby by The Cure. And I didn't even mention that at first. You had mentioned, oh, he borrows so much
He borrows a ton.
from New Wave and Dark Wave. It's like, oh, the Cure
Yeah.
song. That's all I could think about. So that became my favorite song for two very shallow reasons. Is that and that it's this grumpy song on the album, and I always have to appreciate a grumpy song on an album.
This very much gets you over the hump.
It gets me over the hump of
Yeah.
it feels good, and now I feel good, and
Yeah.
now I'm what's up with
Uh-huh.
this happiness?
Rhythm, like you said, that rhythm is very distinct.
It's so distinctive. It just calms you
Very
down. It like hits your heart rate and lowers. And Trapdoor does that rhythmically, but it's definitely the get your shit together.
Yeah.
You're not gonna rise up. You need to figure it out.
And this one, like you said, very much feels like a Cure song. There is that Robert Smith bass line
Oh yeah, from the start.
dripping all over this thing.
Yep, that is exactly it. So like I said, for very shallow reasons.
Yeah.
I really like this song.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. I enjoyed it.
That's my contribution to the entire album.
All right. So next we have Good Day.
Okay, yeah. Had a good day.
I think this is just like the song they have to put on this, right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like when you write your white boys and you have a reggae, and I hate to put them in that category, but that's what they've done with themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, they wrote for University of California.
Yes. Yep.
Like this is the,
Yep.
yeah. And which University of Cal were they? Cal Berkeley, right? I
Yeah.
think it was Cal Berkeley.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's hippies there. There's lots of hippies there. Like the only thing that's nicer than, well, and that's not necessarily true because Cal Berkeley kids actually do a lot of rioting, but the only thing that's nicer overall than Cal Berkeley kids is Canadians. So
Excuse me,
there's a
no,
lot
I'm
of-
sorry, Santa Barbara.
UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Same thing though. But that there's a lot of themes on this, and I mentioned Weezer earlier,
Yes.
and I mentioned Bare Naked Ladies. I
Yes.
mentioned those two very specifically because it's very nice
Oh my
white
God.
boy rock. And these guys are so nice, even when they're fighting things, they're not telling you what they're fighting, and you don't even know
No.
if they are fighting. You
And
know?
they're even nice about telling you to get your life together.
Yeah.
They're not mean about it. It's just
It's a good song, and it has to be on here.
yeah,
but
it
then,
does. Yeah.
Like this song pulls me into non-points one a day, and that song is so much different than this song. But I like that song a lot. It's a completely
As he's
different
singing
song.
about his lady, he does say that she purrs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
I put it
appreciate-
in the love song
I-
category.
as-
yeah.
As a
As you
cat
do.
myself,
Yeah.
I appreciate that other people recognize that a purr is a good thing.
The love songs on this album very much pertain to your and my relationship in a lot of ways. A lot of the lyrics that are in there are very much in tune.
And I'm okay with that.
Even the fake strings.
No.
Those aren't
Yeah.
lyrics. Never mind.
Yeah. I'll do the fake strings.
We'll
Yeah.
get to the fake strings. I realize that I'm hypocritical.
I know.
All right. So next we get into Healing. This is the 10th song on the album.
I'm trying to remember.
It's
this
just very 70, like pure 70s soft
Oh,
rock.
yeah, this
Yeah,
one
it's
is
just kind of there.
this is Neil Young.
It is Neil Young. I didn't hate it, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, this
Yeah.
is completely different.
Right.
Did you write this song and just need an extra track, or
Yeah.
did it need a home? Or it's such a shift
Yeah.
from the tonally from any other song.
100% a garage band.
Yeah,
70s garage
100%,
band. Like
just
CSNY,
okay.
Neil Young, unplugged acoustic guitar hits you right away.
Yup.
And very 70s-ish, minor
70s.
chords.
Yep.
And it's the strums are the same, very, and it's that, it feels like a war song.
It does
almost.
feel like a war song. I agree with that.
It feels like that a lot of
Like
that
a
stuff, like,
protest song.
yeah, like the Buffalo Springfield
Yes,
stuff.
yeah, that's
and
kind of what I felt as well. That's exactly.
that's where they were
Yeah.
going. That it's so heavily leaned into that, that Vietnam War, like protest folk music thing,
And-
that
and
American folk music.
If I had heard this off the album, I'd have no clue this was reggae. If this is the only song by them that I'd ever heard, I'd have no clue they were a reggae.
Yeah, this
And-
one
no.
and the last one on
And
the
the
album.
last one on the album, Big Strings.
Big departures.
Mm-hmm.
Big strings.
Big Strings.
All right. So now we're going into the second to final song on the album, and this is More Energy. Now, one
Yeah,
of the
me
things
too.
I appreciate about this particular song, and again, I had to have subtitles while listening to this album because that's just the way my brain works. This is all listed as
Oh, yeah.
one verse. Everything else is listed as verse 1, chorus, pre-chorus,
Okay.
verse 2, whatever. This is all just beginning to end. It is straight through. There is no chorus. There is no hook.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the thing that I really enjoyed about this particular
Just
song.
a little bit different.
Yeah,
I didn't
because,
think of it that way, but that.
because
Okay, yeah.
98% of the songs that we know have a hook. They have
Yeah.
a chorus.
Right.
They have something,
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right? And this one doesn't. And I appreciated that.
Which is actually getting back to the roots of what reggae is it's telling a story. It's folk music.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
just having listened to that, 3 or 4 seconds I just listened to, it's got that, the piano is doing something different than the guitar, which I love. Because a lot of that reggae, the piano and the guitar will both be doing that off, like that doo-doo,
Mhm.
and they both get doing it. I'm like, okay, you guys can do something different, and they actually layer it nicely. So there's the pianos kind of doing one thing, and the guitars doing another, and it's minor key again,
Yes.
which to me always makes me feel better about it because it makes me feel like there's some angst to it.
I am right there with you. Good minor keys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you want
So
to be?
I enjoyed this song quite a bit. Actually, the last three songs on the album, the first three and the last three those are really good to me. And I know you have a problem with the last song on the album.
I'm getting over it.
No, you're not.
You have one very big problem with the song on the album. But I thought that song, just listening to it the first time, I actually had to stop what I was doing, start the song over, and listen to it again the very first time I listened through.
Constellation.
Yeah, because I was like,
So
this
we've
is.
moved on.
Yeah.
I felt it was a
I'm on
nice segue.
Constellation now.
It was a decent segue, wasn't
It is.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
very
no,
happy
so-
with it. The only reason it stopped being a good segue is because we commented on how good the segue
I
was.
ruined it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was
I'm
It's okay.
shamed.
That's part of how we segue.
just trying to keep it conversational,
No,
you
you're-
know.
It's us.
Peek behind the curtain.
Yeah,
We're not
right.
very good at podcasting. Anyway, Consolation's the last song on the album, and that's the one we should talk about now. So let's talk about it. Ready?
I'll
Go.
just get it out of the. I'll get it out of the way because my reasoning for not liking it is stupid and ridiculous, and I recognize that, and I am reassessing. I'm a violinist. I hate fake strings, but there are many a song I like that have fake strings. It makes me a hypocrite, including "Lullaby" by The Cure, which we were discussing this, and I said I didn't like Constellation because of the fake strings, and I stopped and said, "Lullaby has the worst, loudest fake strings."
Yes, it really does.
Like the fake strings in that Britney Spears song
Oh,
Toxic.
Toxic.
Oh yeah.
are significantly better, and they're awful.
I love that song.
We're not talking about whether that's a good or bad song. I'm talking about the fake strings.
I love the fake strings though.
But they work in that. But
Yeah.
they are so bad in Lullaby. But I love Lullaby. So now I have to reassess Constellation and let go.
Don't listen to any Dimmu Borgir ever because they are loaded with fake strings.
Oh,
That
fake
music is
strings.
gorgeous.
I understand. I understand violinists are very dramatic people. And
No.
you don't want to hire them.
Only
you
only
don't want
listen to the second album on from Starset. Don't listen to the first one. That's when they only have.
Sometimes you have to use fake strings, and sometimes you have to get over the fake strings because you realize you're being a hypocrite. I said my piece.
All right.
It's a beautiful song. And again, we're back to that 70s. To me, this had a lot of gosh, now I'm not going to think of. I've got like 17 thoughts in my head of what it sounds
exactly.
like.
I said contemporary college rock 70s. That was
Yeah.
my note exactly.
I'm trying to think. There's some songs I'm thinking of very specifically that I can't even think of now. But there's like some of the older Beatles stuff,
Mhm,
or like
mhm.
some the later Burton Cummings and the Guess Who, where it's super like you said, fake strings. But there's always that one song, and it happened a lot in the 60s, late 60s and early 70s, and it happened a lot in the late 70s and early 80s, and it happened a lot in the aughts, where they would have a song that had a very specific theme to it,
Mhm.
and in the middle of that album would always be one song that was a completely different pace,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always really enjoyed those songs on the album, even though they were sometimes the corny one.
Yeah, but it does its job. It's a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
So that you're not being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
For the
Well,
rest of
and
it.
sometimes they're aggressively beautiful and arty, and they're always like 8-minute long songs.
Yes. Yep.
And they
yep.
start with one theme and add little bits on top of it. It's very, very, very late Paul McCartney
Yes.
and John Lennon, that stuff. And I love it. I don't know why I love something that just builds as one thing. The best song by, there's one of those really super lame bands, and now I can't think of it, but they've got one song called Lightning Crashes, I think is called, and it's just like this. And I hate all of their other crap, but they're super popular. But that's their whole thing is like it's just one theme. They build on it, and like you said, it's one chorus that kind of there's not really like a
Mhm.
refrain in this one. It just builds until and it's one idea, streamlined thought to a crescendo, and then it kind of either tails off or whatever. And I really enjoyed that.
That's what I do. Yes, that's what I do like about this, and I agree. It's the prog song.
Yeah, it's prog rock. It's 100% prog rock.
It's the last song. We can just kind of do whatever we want. You made it through the album. You can either turn it off.
Right.
It's probably not going to be the one on the radio.
Yeah.
That's okay. The people that when we play it at the concert, the people who love it will love it.
Yeah. They'll love it. You know, it's Avatar just came out with one that they just re-released as a single. It's called The Tower. And they did the piano version of The Tower. It's very much this, you know.
Same idea.
And you know that it's just a great way to end it.
Yes.
Put a final note on it and kind of just be like, oh, okay, that was it.
Yeah, it opened so stereotypically in the, reggae, here we are, love, and then it ended in this completely different place.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed. I just like, there you go. There's a lot of auto-tune in this one again.
Yeah. So says this person from on Yorkshire Magazine. He agrees with you.
And you notice it because they do start with just the guitar element.
Yeah.
And his vocals. And it's not right away, but they layer in a little bit of harmony. But brother, if you can't sing it, just don't.
Just don't, yeah.
Or just Bob Dylan that shit and just get over it.
I was about to say, or pull a Bob Dylan.
Yeah, like
or a Frank Sinatra and stick in this one spot.
I was thinking about today. There are some
people, Rex Harrison, who just speaks all of his lyrics.
Speak it. You don't have to.
He's a very melodic speaker, but he cannot sing.
Yeah.
There are some people out there that just get away with just having tremendously terrible singing voices, and it's okay. Like, to me, Tom Petty had a very unique voice.
Yes.
Is it good? No.
so
Dave Mustaine is another one. Has that like, hi, hello, me, meet the real me. It's not a great voice, but it's very unique.
Ian
Brother,
Curtis,
just own it.
Just do that. Just
and so why with all of this beautiful production and all of these instrumentations and I did not mention how tight that rhythm section is the entire album, but the bass player the drumming.
That counterpoint between the bass and the drum was just you could see that. I mean, we've all heard
there's
bad reggae music too,
right?
And that it just
those two dudes have been rehearsing for years together.
Yeah.
You can tell, and it comes across on the album. But for them to have all of this beautiful stuff and then just come just that close to perfection and just let your natural voice come through.
I mean, their bass guy and their drum guy are the originals.
That makes sense.
And you can tell.
That went to college.
You can tell.
You can tell.
I mean, so the keyboards and the current vocalist and guitar player are also
they had 5 guys and they dropped to 4.
Yeah. Right, but these are the 4 guys who went to college together.
Yeah.
That's how they've stuck around.
I get it, man. I don't like hearing the sound of my own voice either. But just own it, dude. You know.
Yeah,
Tom Waits, another great
I was
example.
about to say Tom Waits.
man, some would say he's got the worst singing voice on the planet. I think it's amazing.
Oh, you got to listen to Martha, where he's not he's actually singing on the album closing time. Anyway, that's a different conversation.
His version of Young at Heart makes me so happy.
Me too. So this has turned into the Tom Waits podcast.
All right,
temporarily. We've done a really good job staying on track.
Jumping back to Revolution.
Okay, fine.
I just have a couple of random, interesting tidbits that I want to share. First off, they are still touring.
Yes.
And tour dates that are coming up, just because I feel like we've talked about them enough. If you want to go see their shows, absolutely listen to their albums. But they have tour dates March 15th in St. Petersburg, Florida. April 6th in Tempe, Arizona, and then May 23rd, May 24th, and June 8th in Monterey, California, Napa, and Long Beach. So
I'm surprised there's not a Red Rock state on that calendar.
You know what? They have actually done shows here at Red Rocks and have sold out.
They actually, one of the albums when I was going to go find this, I had some technical issues, and it put me behind on listening to some of it, which is why I didn't. There's a little bit in the middle that's a little hazy.
Judging you.
Luckily, Apple Music hooked it up, and the album was only $4.99 there. So if you want to check it out, it's only $4.99 on Apple Music. That's where I downloaded it. But they also have, and the reason why I brought Apple Music into this is they also have a Live at Red Rocks album,
Okay.
which I am actually kind of interested to check out.
Yeah, just to see what the live version is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You said they're a live band.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there are some bands that perform live that the live music will actually ruin the band for me.
Wait, hold on. Who is it? They plays in like the
You know
like,
it.
the 1.5 times, and you hate them because they try to put in 18 songs where they could have been fine with 15 songs.
I'm also a little bit biased because they ruined the Iowa metal scene, and Iowa metal used to be really good before Slipknot got there. But Slipknot like to do their entire greatest hits collection on their album, on their live performance, and their concerts last about 120. No, like they last a little bit less than an hour and a half, and they will play 22 songs in an hour and a half. And what they'll do is they'll start their normal song, and it'll be like, "I'm gonna do the thing it there, and I am and then they kick it in, and it used to be Joey Jordison, who was one of the best drummers on the planet. Rest in peace, Joey Jordison. And until this last year, it was Max Weinberg's kid, who I can't remember his name, but I don't know who their new drummer is now. But they speed up right after the introduction to 1.5 times.
So they believe that they're a punk band.
And yeah, it's very much, but you know, where punk like that
Punk's
music is always at that high
it's
tempo
meant
speed.
to be that tempo.
And speed metal's that way too. Thrash is very much that way. Theirs is very much single on the radio. It is, it is the regular beats per minute that goes, that you can play in a dance music. And then when they play it live, they go,
yeah, I'm trying to picture those.
And it ruins the whole thing for me.
Apparently, it's atrocious.
I believe that.
So I've been told for the last 4 years.
I know very little Slipknot, but
they're fun live because there's
That's
10 of them on the stage.
I think my brother went to a Slipknot,
and
he's not a big fan, but he went to a concert.
Ideally, it's cool because there's 3 drum kits, and depending on which stage you go to, there's like 3 levels. But like ideally, there's 3 drum kits. There's one on each side, and then the main drum kit. This one moves and flips upside down like Motley Crue, which Motley Crue already did, but it's cool when they do it. All the instrumentation so overly that you can't really tell what's going on anyways. And the stage is huge, and like the auxiliary drummers are all over the place, like fucking jumping on shit and like punching dudes, like while they're playing guitar, the auxiliary musicians are just punching the guitar players and shit. And, they have a DJ on stage that's playing. That's part of their whole thing.
And so while that's happening,
and you gotta stop talking about Tom Waits.
Sorry.
But he got to talk about Slipknot.
So, okay, again, a couple random things that I find really interesting about Revolution. All 4 of the current band members have degrees from UC Santa Barbara in religious studies, anthropology, film studies, and business economics. Right? So, yeah.
There's one guy that can do something with that degree, and the rest of them have to be musicians. Hey, man, it's great stuff. It really is.
Yeah.
Also, in true reggae style, they have worked with Flavor RX to release an all-natural cannabis products, multiple strains, a sour tsunami sativa and a calico indica, pens, vaporizers. Apparently, you can only buy these in dispensaries in California.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we're going to be in California in August or not. Who knows? It could be any time in the year because they're opening up the new Meow Wolf in California
next year.
So we will have to go and get these for you to try then.
Supposedly.
Also, they have worked with 2 different breweries. to come up with.
Wait, which ones?
So they worked with Florida-based breweries, Rock Brothers Brewing and Cigar City Brewing,
Oh, Cigar City, cool.
Yeah.
and they had the Revolution IPA.
Oh my God!
I've had that beer before.
No wonder the band names.
I was like, this sounds familiar.
Revolution.
Okay. And then they also worked with Lost Abbey and the Hop Concept to create Take on Anything IPA.
I haven't had Take, but
Lost Abbey was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, Lost Abbey.
Yeah, so they have done a couple of IPAs and some cannabis products, but only in places where cannabis is legal.
And you can only try those if you listen to Rise On Up, whatever it's called.
Right. Yeah.
That song.
That one.
That one. That we're obviously both very impressed. Or cat food.
Cat food.
Viking Crimson. Those are your choices.
Just those two specific
songs.
All right. But anyways, this band is still going strong. Founded in 2004 by a handful of guys that went to college together. You know, they've won the Fans' Choice Award in 2021 for Album of the Year. You know, they won where was it? Grammy nomination or Best Reggae Album in 2017. Here's the other one, the iTunes Editor's Choice Best Reggae Album. Right, so these guys have done a lot, and they're continuing to do a lot. So, all in all, on a scale of 1 to 5, where would you rate this album?
1 to 5 what?
Yeah.
1 to 5 stars, 5 being really good, 1 being complete bullshit. Just let's do reggae album and then overall. Because, you know, on reggae they hit the top, you know, number 1 for many weeks, and overall they only hit 43.
I'll leave reggae to you.
Yeah, so it's hard for me because I feel like this is skewed a little bit because Billboard is an American company. And this is an American band that's doing something that's primarily done in another island. So it's kind of a little unfair. It's like how America wins the World Series every year. But it's a solid reggae album. Very tight musicianship, very, very well musically put together, with a few, things that we've made mention of. But the variety of reggae itself leads me to rate it pretty high, actually. I just wish that when they went to grab something with their teeth, that they actually got some meat off of the bone and had like a cause. And I get that that's not their thing. That's not what they do. But I wish that it would. It would have made this a stronger effort for me. But I'm going to give it a solid 3.8 stars out of 5, since we're going with stars. 3.8 for reggae album.
All right, overall. No, you can't get reggae. You get the other one.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree. Kind of midpoint.
Yeah.
The music's objectively good. It's enjoyable to listen to by, the third listening. That's just from personal taste and having to kind of understand the genre more and understand what I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need to listen to it again, but I'm not going to shoot someone if they put it on.
Probably won't even notice.
I won't even notice.
Yeah,
and that's I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that it's there. It's doing its thing. It's doing its job of
I could
filling in space, and
I could jam this whole album into my work playlist,
Yeah, I'd probably not think about it playing and then why do I feel so good?
Yeah.
Is that the Cure?
Yeah.
Oh, this album's been playing.
Our work playlist is I don't know, probably a couple thousand songs of non-offensive rock and roll and that ilk, and party country, which is the worst kind, and all that stuff that you would expect to hear at that fine kind of establishment. So, putting this in there and putting it through the shuffle, I don't think anybody would notice.
No, I think this is
It fit right in.
fit right in.
Yeah.
So your next album will be a party country album.
No, because I still want him to sleep with me.
I'll jump off the second story balcony, twisted ankle.
I don't want to listen
In
to
the moat.
that. There's a part of my brain going, shut up. Shut up.
I went through a portion of my life where Big and Rich was there,
Ugh,
and only one of those two dudes can sing. I'll let you guess which one is which because I don't know.
So Tom Waits.
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits.
We're gonna go ahead and end this. on-
Drinking.
Revolution has done a crap ton of collaborations. Has been featured by a number of different artists and bands throughout the years. So check those out. The one that is sticking out to me is they were featured by Real Big Fish.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why they got put in ska because Scott
Yeah.
Band said something about them.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Although that also makes sense why they're so not offensive because Real Big Fish is not offensive.
Yeah. It does make sense.
But anyways, check out the album. Tell us what you think. If you have any thoughts on what album we should cover next, let us know that as well. Right now, I'm going with probably some sort of like greatest hits of era. Something where will be multiple bands featured in the same album.
Oh,
For the next one for them to have to go to. I'm leaning heavily towards like Eurovision style for something that will be like obscure and random. But hey, if you have a better idea, please let me know. Join us next week when husband gets poked with the giant stick.
where is this?
It's
didn't have
behind
a
me.
Stick this time.
You agreed too much on album stuff. You can only get the stick on things you don't agree on.
That's true.
We agreed way too much.
Yeah, we really did.
But husband will be getting poked with a stick by our
Disappointed.
No.
very dear friend who will be discussing Buffy the high school years. So
Yeah.
join us
See a
for
lot of
that.
poking there.
Oh, goodness.
Oh yeah, especially she is a diehard Buffy fan, and this is his first time ever.
Oh, that's right.
And I
Yes.
viewed it through the lens of what if this show was made today?
Oh man. Oh.
So
Yeah,
while
so,
I did enjoy the show in its in its
yeah.
era, I also kind of had an eye on how would they have gotten away with
All
this
right,
now?
so check that out next week. Follow along. You can check us out on all of the socials. We are the Nerds That Know on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and I don't know,
Facebook,
TikTok,
Facebook.
probably Facebook too.
all the fucking shit. Also,
Probably Facebook.
follow our sister cast of My Brother's an Idiot.
Facebook.
They do weekly, or because we're currently out of football season, it'll probably go down to every other week.
Instagram.
Talking about all of
Facebook.
the various crap that happens in sports ball.
Oh, like baseball.
Jake?
Can't say anything other than that.
How'd you get it in there?